Keeping track? All right. There you go.
Hi, students.
Professor.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon for a special availability with Hall of Famer and Rockies great Larry Walker. Larry, thanks for being here. It's good to have you back at Coors Field. We'll get going with questions. We'll jump right in. If you have a question, just raise your hand and we'll bring the mic over to you.
Sure.
And we'll start off with Trace Ringolsby over here. Trace, go ahead.
Walker, at what point when you're at the Hall of Fame and you're in all those sessions where it's just the Hall of Famers, did you ever at some point say, I really belong here? This is me?
I don't think I've had that moment yet. I guess it, in some crazy way, it hasn't sunk in. Even going through all this stuff and having the ceremony here. But like I say, every day goes by, it becomes more of a reality, and sinks in some here and there. But especially when I reflect on it, because I reflect on the moments and the dinner with all the Hall of Famers and all the ribbon that was going on. Felt like I was back in the clubhouse again. So it was an amazing experience, though.
Hey Larry, just the second Rockies player to have your number retired. Have you talked to Todd at all about the honor and what is and what does that mean to you, just in terms of being a Rockies great?
I have not spoke to Todd about it. I haven't talked to him since the All-Star game when he was here and I was here. And like I say, there's no bigger honor, as I'll mention in my speech before the game, that there's no bigger honor a club can give you. And like I say, I'm thrilled by it. I'm just when I got the phone call and Dick told me, it's just you hang up the phone and go, oh my God, nobody's going to wear 33 again. It's just it's an incredible gesture by them to throw my way.
Good, Chris, with you in the back.
Larry, I want to ask you about the sort of off-field part of your legacy, or some of it on-field, the turning the helmet backwards, the SpongeBob shirt, these extra things you talked about in the speech, the running the wrong way across the bases. How important is it to you that is also a part of your legacy, alongside all the impressive statistics and things you did in your career?
Well, I've tried, in my Hall of Fame speech when I said I consider myself average. It's kind of how I see myself. I'm just an average guy that can go around and do crazy stuff, and sometimes I forget, who I am. As that, you lose track of that every now and then. But I just try to be as real as I possibly can, and no different than anybody else in this room right here, or on the street, or anything. So I consider myself approachable and not standoffish at all. So it's all part of just my goofy nature. So I had 3 older brothers that maybe I followed their craziness. So I blame it on them if I do something out of line.
Larry, on that note, you were somebody who, when you signed with the Rockies, I don't know how quickly, but you got a house here, you moved into the community. You've always been, I think, very approachable and approached people in the community. You've connected with them. Can you talk about just what it meant to you being here, and the way you invested yourself and your place in the mountains, and what that meant to you, and your relationship with the fans? Those things.
Yeah, like I say, when I first came here as a visitor, and I saw the beauty of the land here, that I'd never been here before. So the familiarity with what I grew up with in the mountains, and looking at Golden Ears Mountain back home, and the snow cap, and all the pine trees and the fresh air. I mean, right when you landed, right when you got off the plane here a couple of days ago, it's like, oh yeah, it all comes back, and just that fresh air smell and everything. So it felt like home before I had a home.
Good, Vandy in the back.
Larry, given the astronomical odds, when you found out that you were number 333, 333rd Hall of Famer, what was going through your head?
That was a good laugh, that one. The number pops up so often that I think I said to one of my daughters, I walked by her room on the way over here just now, and I just knocked and I said, hey, I'll see you later tonight. And she goes, oh, great. And then her boyfriend bought, I guess they saw the necklaces, big goofy necklaces like the Padres put on for a home run. And she goes, we went down there and bought that and a couple other things. And Dad, the total was $33. So it's always popping up all the time. So, yeah, I guess in a way, people say, well, you shouldn't have had to wait 10 years to get in. Well, obviously it was done for a reason, because it's a 333.
Patrick right here.
Hey Larry, can you discuss maybe a little bit of the experience that you had with Ted and Derek Jeter at the Atasaga Hotel looking out on the lake and that kind of moment that you guys get to have there, and if whether Cooperstown you now have to start thinking about it as this home away from home?
Well, I won't go into detail stuff we talked about because you're not going to be able to print it. So, but you know what? It's like I say, we're surrounded by Hall of Famers. When you walk around the hotel, everywhere you turn, it's a Hall of Famer or his family or something like that. So you're in an amazing company, and that's why I say that's why it's hard for me to think I fit. You know, I didn't. We're looking at legends walking around that clubhouse, or the clubhouse, the hotel. So it was a nervous time, but I was always told that you're gonna fit right in, and you're gonna be amazed how much these guys welcome you in. They don't care if you went in the first ballot or if you went in the last ballot or your last year, and that's how it turned out. I walked around there, and it's like I'd been there for 20 years. So it was a very cool part of it to be.
Go to Thomas Harding in the front here.
Hey Larry, want to ask you about another all-timer. Mike Swanson, one of the first guys that you kind of hooked up with when you got here. Remember the video down on the field? I think he's retiring this year from baseball too. What do you remember about him? What are your best Swanee stories?
Well, I just did a video for Swanee as part of his tribute that they're playing. I don't even know where it's going to play, but you know, probably the coolest memory I have with Swanee didn't take place here at the ballpark. It was actually in the wintertime after ball season. We went to Maui together because he always works the Maui Invitational. So we went over there, and one afternoon we sat down for a while and we wrote poems and letters and stuff, and we went from bar to bar. We did 7 bars, and at every bar we left one of the letters, and that letter led to the next bar and the next bar. And his girlfriend Renee at the time got brought to that first bar, and that letter got handed to her, and that started the scavenger hunt till the very last bar where Mike proposed to her. So that was probably the coolest story I'll have for Mike Swanson.
That's absolutely amazing. Yeah. And just how you guys hooked up, you know, PR guys, they're cool people.
I wouldn't go that far. they're amazing people, yes. They got a hard job because they got to, haul you guys together, and we stood over there for half an hour waiting for you guys to get here.
and last thing, just the media here in Denver. What are your reflections of just, we're a small market, but we obviously follow this team closely. Yeah. Your memories of the media?
Yeah, well, I think if I was to have any memories, they'd be bad, but they're not. They're all good memories, so nothing stands out of the ordinary. It was all a joy to be around, and you know, hopefully you guys felt the same way. Obviously, there's games where you don't feel like talking, so you get stuck in the trainer's room just doing nothing until you guys go home. But you're just not always in that talking mode. So, but no, you guys have always been a joy to be with, and I've got 0 issues with any of you. Maybe one.
We're going to Tracy, and then we're going to head over here next.
Larry, it was an emotional time for you when you got traded to St. Louis. And to think back to it now, when the Rockies, you go into the Hall of Fame, does that make things seem a little even better?
Yeah, you know, the game has the trades, and those things happen. I know I was getting up in age, and I had I guess a larger contract at that time that was small compared to nowadays, but I understood the game, and I knew the moves they were trying to make, and you know, there's no hard feelings. It was just tough because, like I say, this was home. I had a home here, and you know, I spent some of the winters here as well. So it's never. I don't think it's ever a great thing to get traded and go to another city. There's always those great feelings that you don't want to leave behind and not be forgotten. So I think with my number being retired, I haven't been forgotten. So it's kind of cool to come back and do this.
We'll go to Ed Henderson on the right.
Larry, in your Hall of Fame speech, you made reference to your fellow Canadian, Fergie Jenkins. How much time did you have a chance to spend with him, and what did you guys talk about?
Well, he gave me a call a couple of weeks before the speech, tried to give me some tips. He left a message. I called him back, and that was it. We never talked, so there was no tips being done. So, but I kind of figured it all out and knew what I wanted to do. I knew he wanted to be one of the first people I wanted to talk about for what he represents to the people back home in Canada. So that was first on my list of things I wanted to do. And then once we got back to the hotel after the ceremony, I went downstairs and I sat with him and his wife for a good hour, and we sat there and took some pictures and just talked about the day.
Thank you.
Larry, 2 quick ones for me. What's your favorite moment in this ballpark?
Well, it's always hard to not talk about playing in October, playoff October. So my first season in '95. That's why we play. You don't come out here to gloat all over your personal numbers. You come here to throw champagne on your teammates and celebrate. And with us doing that, they've got people in the stands who are doing the same thing, which is what they're paying their money to come here and watch, is to see a winning team. So nothing beats a winning season in '95. Just stands out for me.
And then SpongeBob, what's that affinity about? Any favorite episode there?
I have no idea. I play in a member guest every year down in Florida with a buddy of mine, and for the 3 days we wear matching outfits. And we had SpongeBob pants and a shirt, and I saw those things online or somewhere, and so I ordered one for each of us. So that was part of our get-up for the member guest. And I'd never put that shirt on before, other than that member guest. That was the first time I ever wore it since then. So
never seen an episode?
No, I've seen a few episodes.
Okay.
But yeah, but I don't record them and stay up all night watching them.
We'll go to Drew back here on the right, and then over to Nick in the left.
Larry, you obviously chose to go into the Hall of Fame as a Rocky, and we were at a bar across the way with a bunch of Rockies fans when they announced that, and I had asked them all if they thought that this whole thing was also a comment on the Rockies and their fandom, and every single hand in there went up and said yes. And so I wanted to ask you what that means to you and what your relationship has been like with Rockies fans over there, especially after leaving and having retired, and what that means to you.
Well, it means a ton to me, and then, like I say, I'll kind of give away a little thing I was going to say tonight when I thank the people before, and it's baseball doesn't exist without the fans, right? This team doesn't exist without the fans. If they're not coming to the ballpark, it's not going to happen. So this little thing right here, as I'm going to say tonight, I want these fans to maybe not see my face on there, put their face on there. When they go visit it, I want them to realize that that CR represents them as much as it represents me, and they're the ones that come here and pay their money to come watch baseball, and they should feel very proud to see that thing hanging in the Hall of Fame for them, not just for me.
Nick on the left.
Yeah, Larry. Pardon me. That video of you in Swanee when you first got here, I don't think it exists anymore, but I remember it being pretty funny. What was your? I don't know how much of that was real. And of course I don't remember it all in detail, but what were your first impressions when you got to Coors Field, and what did you think of the environment?
Yeah, no, the park was outstanding. We walked in as a team. We walked in through the left field fence coming in from spring training. So we walked in, and like I say, you're in awe. You're looking at something brand new, and there's so many things to learn about it. And when I first stepped in, I thought the fences were a little far away. As it turned out, they probably needed to be farther away. But like I say, it's gotten nicer since then with all the stuff that's been added. Like where we're sitting right now, this is beautiful up here, and the park has incredible features that I think a lot of ballparks around the league are jealous.
Yeah, and I mean, if you can remember that first time when you walked in, I mean, are you thinking of it as a player, like how am I going to play these angles, or are you just sort of like taking it in as a fan?
No, it's like any ballpark you go to. Ballparks go up. New ones go up all the time. So the first thing you do is walk into a new ballpark is you fool around in your position. So I came up the right field. There's about 4 different textures up there, as soft and hard, and can hit and shoot left and right. So there's a lot of taking balls and batting practice and just throwing balls down there to see how things would work. So just learning a ballpark like any other one.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Go back to the one here.
Yeah, I want to put you on the spot, but I hope I remember this correctly. I think you deferred some of your salary at one point so the team could sign Dexter. And anyway, I asked you about how you came up with the idea of doing that at a time where everybody's trying to get bigger contracts, and you said, I'm from Canada, we do things differently there. I wonder if you could give some more examples of things from your career that show you as a Canadian doing things differently.
Wow, I put me on the spot, but I don't know if I'd do things differently. I'd probably say sorry more than most people, because that's a Canadian way. We're kind of, even if we're right, it's kind of, hey, sorry, dude, just move on, just the way we are. So, but I don't know if I do anything Canadian. You have to tell me, and then I'll let you know if you're right or not.
All right, a couple more here. We've got Thomas in the front.
Yeah, who's next? Who should be next to have a number retired here by the Rockies?
Well, I guess, I know Nolan did quite a job here, so probably Dante, Big Cat, Vinny. Can I say a whole bunch of them? I don't know how do you pick one, but I guess of all the other players that have played here, I think, if I'm correct, that Nolan probably has put the most in, and then maybe Charlie Blackman's up there as well.
I wanted to give you a chance to talk about somebody who wasn't a player but had a lot of influence on this franchise, Don Baylor. What he did for you during your career, and would he be a type of guy that you'd love to see with a number hanging up here?
Yeah, well, I've answered the manager question many times, and people ask you who your favorite player is, who's your favorite coach or manager, and even having Jimmy Leland as well known and a Hall of Famer, and Tony La Russa, I've always said Don Baylor was my favorite manager. Just down to earth, approachable guy that you just loved, and it was a sad day when he left this earth, but he'll always go down as my favorite manager.
And one thing I just don't have the geography of, but when you guys won to get into the playoffs in '95, I think you came to the rooftop of the stadium. Where were you guys?
Right by the clock, I think. Right in the corner of the clock there. Was that 20th and Blake, I guess. Yeah.
Tell me about that memory. I know you've talked about it.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Dante and I got up. It's tough to remember it exactly, but Dante and I went up there just goofing off, and there was maybe 20 people down below, and we started hooting and hollering, and they hooted and hollered back, and then that crowd just grew and grew and grew, and there was thousands of people down there, and unfortunately some lady got trampled by some people, and we were throwing stuff over for souvenirs, and she got injured, and that's when it started. So it ended badly, but a lot of the players and the fans down below had fun until that moment.
Go to Patrick here and then Romy.
Larry, when you came here in 1995, Coors Field was brand new. This entire area looked incredibly different. I'm just wondering, each time that you come back, are you able to think back on the early days of Coors Field and what Lodo looked like before it became what it is today?
Well, I know when I came back this time, the McGregor's Square there is unbelievable. What a great idea that is, with the big screen in there, and just the sporting events that can go on, and people just go down there and watch. So, and it's beautiful down here. I mean, I've got friends and family that have never been here that are here for this trip, and they all say that this is an incredibly gorgeous city, and one word that's been used a few times is clean. They don't see any dirt around, so. I won't tell you the cities they're coming from, so it might be a little dirty where they're coming from, but it's a gorgeous place here. You can meet the views and the people and just the buildings and everything. It's awesome.
Larry, the outfield got a little extra decoration for tonight. Just wanted to get your take on what that looks like.
Yeah, I was looking down at Raz doing it, and just the I don't know how you do that. There's one thing I love to do, is everybody knows I'm an outdoors person. I can be in my garden, my yard, and the weed whacker and lawnmower going. I could do that all day, but to see what they do down there is a miracle, and it's beautiful. I know when my kids, and I know my dad's over there right now, and he's probably looking down saying, well, my name's Larry too. They're doing this all for me. So, but it's a pretty cool thing to look at. Yeah.
And then also before your induction, you were talking about all those sleepless nights from your speech. One, how did it go? And two, how are you feeling about making a speech tonight?
Yeah, I've been up at 3:30 every night here. I've been here for 3 days now, and it doesn't matter what time I go to bed. 3:30, I wake up and it's just going through my head again. So, I'm as nervous about it. Maybe not as much, and the reason I say I'm not is because I'm going down on a baseball field, and I'm going to be standing on a baseball field where I stood for 17 years. So there's a certain amount of comfort being on the grass, looking up at the fans, where on a podium looking down, so that suits me a little bit better. So, but we'll see how it goes. I just told you half my speech, so don't say anything yet.
All right, we'll finish up with one more with Owen here.
Larry, I wanted to ask you also about the plaque and how you feel about the plaque. If there's anything from it, the words or anything that you're especially proud of, and your happiness with, I know the sculptor's here, Tom, but your happiness with the way it came out.
It is, I tell you what, even my family and friends have been saying that yours is by far the best one, and I go, yeah, I'm going to agree, because I love it. I think it's amazing. I think the job was incredible. I don't know, to me it's perfect. I think it might be better looking. Well, I'm not good looking, so it's probably got to easily good looking. So, but no, the eyes are amazing. Yeah, well, I'm like over the moon with it, honestly.
Thanks.
I think that's all the questions we have, Larry. Thank you for taking the time. Everyone, thank you for being here, and we'll see you down in the field for the game tonight.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.